First sight of a salt truck occurs 3 weeks after the roads have already turned to ice. And in Michigan, they all drive like it's their first winter, handling the roads at a top speed of 4 miles per hour. That is, except for the crazy bastards in their trucks and SUVs. But the real reason for driving slow is not for safety, but to stop and stare at the asshole's house that has more Christmas lights on it than Clark Griswold's. Winter version.
Animals like drinking! We're drinking. Cheers. One more. Hear that salt? Pretty good. Whole new variation. Fit your lifestyle.
Happy Valentine's.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to the basement. I'm your favorite local bartender, none other than the Mastershake, representing the Scene Snobs on another Friday night. Excited everybody's joining in. We got kind of a special show planned. Tonight, we're actually going to do something I haven't done in a long time that I love doing, and that's dueling cocktails. None other than Taxman Tim, a.k.a. Matt, a.k.a. my brother. He's going to be coming on the show after we do our beer introductions to do a dueling Porn Star Martini that we both cooked up this week. He took my suggestion to heart last week. He said, send me cocktails, and a couple people did. And his was the one I chose because he had mentioned to me before. I thought it'd be a really good idea. The name fits with our local absurdity like always. Now, we're not doing movie stuff this week, which is okay with me. And not every cocktail has to fit with the movie. So our name this week, to fit with our Porn Star Martini cocktail. That's a popular cocktail, by the way. A little segue here, side note. Porn Star Martini is a highly popular cocktail right now. It is a passion fruit martini. I am not particular to it. I don't like the color. I don't like the consistency. I don't really like the flavor. But I think that I've cooked up something in none other than our Ms. Michigan. That's right. We're calling our Porn Star Martini Ms. Michigan. You know, as you can fill in the blanks for that. And so I think we got a good plan for it. We're going to do two different versions. One vodka-based, that's mine. One gin-based, that's Taxman Tim's. And we're both going to make them. You should see the studio right now. I'll cut to the... Here, check this out. There are beers. We'll get to those in a second. But we're set up for two completely different cocktails this week. So this should be kind of interesting. You know, I think that to a certain extent, my cocktail will be better. I'm obviously biased. They're both cherry forward cocktails to represent our great state of Michigan. But as a add-on, we're doing all Michigan night. Okay, as many ingredients as we could are Michigan-based, and you know me and Taxman Tim, we love Michigan. All things Michigan all the time, right? In my decorations, I got the lions. I got the mitten back here. Probably can't see my hats too well. Let me pull the... There we go. See it better here. Got my Michigan hat. Got my Pistons, Tigers, Sparty up. A little bit of Bob Seger back here. And then I don't think he's tuning in because he's getting married, but my friend Nate, his band, Moses. I would have in civilian clothing on here, but there's only one record ever in existence, and I don't have it. So I couldn't put it on display. All things Michigan, all things wonderful. We love Michigan. And speaking of that, speaking of loving Michigan, we got our brewery of the week. Bell's Brewery in Kalamazoo, Michigan. All you Western grads out there immediately got pumped the second I said that. I know you did. Bell's is one of the oldest breweries in Michigan, along with Founders. Bell's helped bring craft beer to Michigan. They were a very forward-thinking brewery in the early part of the aughts who aggressively, I would say this, initially aggressively brought beers to Michigan. Positives, every beer they have is good. They don't have a negative beer, in my opinion. Everything is a plus beer. Negatives. I don't think they're aggressive enough anymore. They're often very late to the game, whether you're talking about going to hazy IPAs, doubles, barrel-aged stouts, whatever it is. I feel like Bell's is very late to the game. So the one thing you can count on is whatever they bring to the game, it's above average. The problem is by the time they bring it, I'm usually moving on to something else. But that doesn't stop other people. You know, we literally have like a Bell's holiday here in Michigan. When they release, and, you know, to a certain extent, like, they have a new altered version of it. But when they do their Oberons every spring, that's supposed to signal in summer's coming, because it is an extremely popular summer beer here in Michigan. Okay, it's a wheat. You put a little orange slice on top of it, dip it in the beer, whatever. People love it. I'm not a huge fan of Oberon. Maybe that's why I don't put Bell's as high as other people do. But it's super popular here in Michigan. Supremely popular. So without further ado, let's pull our beers in and take a look at these, okay? Again, this week, we're going with standards. That light is really shining on. I'm sorry. So this is the first beer I ever had from Bell's, and it's their basic American Amber Ale. Comes in at 5.4% like usual. Ambers are a very, very, very standard beer. Ambers are a flagship for so many different breweries. Bell's is on top of that as well, okay? Theirs is definition, textbook. What would you say for an amber beer? I'd give it a 3 out of 5. It's good. Not great, good. I recommend it if you like ambers, but again, it's basic. There's nothing supremely aggressive about it. It doesn't go here, it doesn't go there. It just is an amber. So if you don't already drink craft beer, this could be a really good gateway beer, so to speak. Okay, new flavors for you, but anybody else that's already been on the craft brew scene for a long time, this is pretty standard. It isn't going to shake your tail feather. We'll go to Hannah's favorite. Bell's Two Hearted IPA. Standard American IPA, hanging in at 7%. Isn't overly bitter. The IBUs only register, I think, in the 70s on this one. It's not like Humaloo-malicious like last week. Or week before. Sorry, we did shorts. Or if Centennial, for that matter. Centennial's high on the IBUs. Right here, it's a really solid Two-Hearted. Our governor said that that would be the beer that she would have when they spoofed her on SNL. I think that Two-Hearted is a solid IPA. Again, 3 out of 5. Or 3.5. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. Okay, it's good, but again, nothing really extravagant, nothing that special, nothing overwhelming. It's just good. So if you like IPAs, you will like Two-Hearted. What did Hannah say here? Oh, it's the first one she had. I kind of feel that way about this too, Hannah. Like, you know, the amber, I have a soft spot for it. I'll drink a 6-pack of it like maybe once every 3 months or so, just because, like, it's one of the first craft beers I ever had. Now, they have a bunch of different variations. So, like a lot of craft beer distributors have done, okay? They took Two-Hearted and they did a bunch of different stuff in it. The first one that I know of that did this, it's New Holland. They did that with their Mad Hatter series. Shorts has done it to a certain extent with a couple different beers that they have, actually, where they take one beer and then they do 2 or 3 offshoots. A lot of craft breweries do it. Bell's does too. They took Two Hearted and they did a bunch of different IPA variations on it. First one we'll deal with here. I really like this. They were really late to the game with it. Hazy Hearted IPA. By the time they came out with this, Shorts had done like 50 different hazy beers. It's solid. It's a 4 out of 5. For a hazy IPA, super juicy, super citrusy, all the boxes checked, right? Again, it's not like some hazy, like my favorite hazy of all time is Slurmlord from Shorts, which is a double hazy that Shorts did. That's how crazy they get with it. Bell's, it's not overwhelming in any category. It's just really good. So if you like hazy IPAs, you're going to like this beer. But don't expect anything extravagant. I mean, you're sensing a theme here. Next up, Big Hearted IPA. We have an Imperial IPA clocking in at 9.5. Remind myself. You see the logo constantly stays the same. Again, on the Two Hearted tree, we'll call it. It's on the Two Hearted tree. This is not as good as Two Hearted. That's why I gave Two Hearted a 3.5. This is a 3. If it's going to be an Imperial IPA, Bell's, it better punch me in the face with the bitterness. It doesn't. It's too light on the IBUs for an Imperial IPA. It's got the ABV. It doesn't have the bitterness that I want out of this beer. So 3 out of 5. Again, good, not great. But late to the game. By the time they come out with this, a lot of other breweries are already doing triples. So Bell's, again, stays above that kind of like curve, so to speak, without really pushing it like they did way back in the early aughts. This next beer is one of my favorite ones that Bell's does. It's a 4 out of 5. Plus, it's Michigan, so we can't, I love this title. Just a really nice beer, and it is. Now, the reason why it's a 4 out of 5 isn't because it does anything exceptional. It's a golden ale, super drinking. It's good, though. It's not just solid, it's good. This is a go-to on the pontoon boat for me. I've had it on the show before. Plus, I love the label. Here in Michigan, we say no, yeah, yeah, no all the time. And those of you from Michigan tuning in, you know exactly what I'm talking about. No, yeah, yeah, no, right? Check it out. If you haven't already had this, this is a solid, really with it, okay? And the best part is the comp that I would give for it, Sundog. No, that's the wheat. There's a golden ale that is made by New Holland that's really good comp, but the one from New Holland isn't as good as this because it isn't as full-bodied and full-flavored. This is a 4 to 5. Solid beer. Check it out. Lastly, I mentioned Oberon. This is a citrus wheat. Now, the reason why I left this to last, they're trying from, this is what I'll say about citrus wheat. One, it's kind of a new foray, and I like that they're doing something aggressive. It's a hazy wheat beer. And wheat beers are already kind of hazy visually anyway, but they built a wheat beer the same way you would build a hazy IPA. 4.5 out of 5. And Bell's is pushing the envelope on something that I think we're going to see more and more here in Michigan. A heavy citrus forward wheat beer that it's almost like if you took an Oberon and mixed it half orange juice. That's what I would compare it to. Okay? Like a beer tail, so to speak. It's very beer tail-esque. If you haven't tried it, the label's cool. Mastershake says check it out. Okay? 4.5 out of 5. Great beer. Now, one of the things that I'll say about Bell's, I'm hard on them. They are a favorite here in Michigan, and there are plenty of people that will come out to their defense. If you talk to people in Michigan, they will defend Bell's. I did not, discover. I didn't really start drinking Bell's beers other than Oberon until I had already adopted a lot of other different breweries. And that's what they'll say about people in Michigan. You adopt a brewery, so to speak. So by the time I really started delving into Bell's, I was already drinking a ton of New Holland, a ton of Founders, a ton of Shorts, or even like smaller breweries like Delivery in Benton Harbor, Michigan. I was already adopting other things. And then Bell's came in with other stuff, and I started checking them out. So I'm biased, and I'll admit that biased. Okay? Yeah, no, yeah, right? Love it. For what it's worth, Bell's is a great brewery. I know that I'm biased towards it. You should check them out. You might love it. If you make it to Kalamazoo, there are a ton of things to do there. There are a ton of breweries there too. So just like the other two we've featured on the show this season, Traverse City, Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Kalamazoo, they all have something slightly different. I recommend it. Check it out, okay? Those are the big three, so to speak. It's not that New Holland, which next week is New Holland. It's not that New Holland is so much smaller. New Holland has really shifted their focus to liquor. And in my opinion, their beers have suffered a little bit as a result. But they're still part of that original kind of forward. Them and Atwater, that push forward. I guess odd side to a certain extent. A push forward here in Michigan of the aughts for craft breweries. Okay. But because they've really focused on their distillation of liquor the past 5 or 6 years or so, I think that their beers have kind of hit a second tier here in Michigan, and I wanted to hit the first tier first. Okay, let me know what you think about that and comments as far as chat, whatever. But what you guys all came here was how to make cocktails, and let's get to that. I'm going to bring in none other than Taxman Tim, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Porn Star Martini and how we chose to adopt it for the show this week.
Hey, can everyone hear me, see me? Regardless, I'm a little dark.
You're a little dark. Can you kick the lights?
I can kick the lights. I'm just worried it's going to shine a little hard. But
Because you don't have the dimmer like I do you?
I can kind of tip. There we go.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You're good.
There we go. I hadn't tested it without the light earlier, so. Okay.
Why don't you start, Taxman, by telling everybody, and you got your map name up. That's not till next week. Tim, why don't you start by telling everybody how we came to suggesting this cocktail?
The Porn Star in general, or just
so. I mean, I can give more history if you want in terms of it, but you were the one who suggested it. What brought you to suggesting the Porn Star Martini?
So my wife and I listened to a podcast, another cocktail podcast. It's called Neat. It has Taylor Smurl, who is a non-binary bartender in downtown Manhattan. And she's like done a bunch of different menus. She's a lead bartender in Manhattan. Like, she's good. Or they are good, sorry. And the other individual is her father, who just drinks what she makes and grades it. And he or she introduced him to the Porn Star cocktail. And he's like, I don't know, it's like 55, 60s. And he's been like showing all of his friends in the neighborhood. Now everyone in his neighborhood drinks Porn Star cocktails. So it's really hilarious. But I was like, okay, well, we can do a Porn Star, but I think we can do a cherry. So that's why I reached out to Dan. I was like, I really think this is a really interesting cocktail, and it's gotten really popular. Why don't we do a riff on it? And obviously give Taylor and Tommy their flowers, because they're the ones that introduced me to it. But like I said,
absolutely, that's a good shout out. I should mention that the style of martini touches back on the 60s and 70s in terms of how they were crafted. You saw at the rise of the 60s and 70s, martinis were no longer stirred. They could be shaken as well, because they started adding in different kinds of juice and different kinds of acids into it with the sugars. That's probably why you get this erroneous line in the Bond movies of shaken, not stirred. Classically, a martini is a gin-based cocktail that is stirred in a mixing glass and strained through a very tight strain to make sure that you don't get any ice chunks. You can either get it dirty or clean, and that just has to do with what kind of juice is in it. Usually it's olive juice, but if you go back to the 50s, often you might even see a splash of different kinds of brine, whether it be pickle juice, olive juice, or any other thing that is brined.
Well, that's also just because they didn't have supermarkets where they could just get all the things, right? It was like, oh, my market has pickle juice. That's all I got.
Yep. Whatever was local. And in earnest, you know, to a certain extent, what you wouldn't call it like clean. I use the word clean. What you would call it is dry. You'd call it dry. And everybody thinks that dry has something to do with juice. No, dry has to do with the type of liquor that is being added to it on top of the flavor profile. So I'll show my ingredients, Tim.
Yeah, you can mix yours first, and then I can mix mine after. I can do it pretty quick, and I'll just walk through it.
Okay. So mine, I chose the vodka forward style, and this is a much more modern style martini. I'm using Smirnoff cherry. If I wasn't lazy, and I was lazy this week, this would have been infused for 5 days upstairs with cherries that I had, you know, emulsified or blended into the vodka. But I was super lazy and I just bought cherry flavored vodka. We've talked about it before on the show. Tim knows this. When it comes to vodka, ladies and gentlemen, there's no point in buying anything above that $12 to $15 price range. If it says triple distilled on it, it's good enough. Okay. They'll try to sell you Grey Goose. They'll try to sell you all these different things. If it's not flavored in some fantastic way, just get Smirnoff.
I prefer Tito's to Smirnoff, but that's just me. Or Svedka or Stoli.
It's anything in that price range, right? Yeah. I like anything that says triple distilled and is in that, like, you know, you don't want to go below like 13. When you start getting down into what's that stuff that high schoolers drink?
Chaka.
Oh,
or no, Burnett's
or something. No, you don't want to go down there. But as long as it says triple distilled, you're good. We're using Chateau Chantal bubbly cherry sweet Michigan cherry wine.
I got the same damn one.
Look at that. Tim got the same one.
We got it at Siciliano's, dude. We went to lunch or dinner over there.
I got mine at Mega Bev, like always. Or no. I had to go to Horrocks. I got all my ingredients from Horrocks today, other than the liquor, because it's hard to get Michigan cherries right now. And for some reason they had them. They must have a grow house somewhere. I'm using Mammoth Cherry Bounce, which is a cherry liqueur. Now, this is where Tim and I think are going to differ. You showed your cherry juice. I'm using a Cherry Bay from Traverse City tart concentrate.
Oh, I'm using tart too. I literally forgot to grab my cherry juice, but I have it.
Grab it. So I'm using tart concentrate for two reasons. I wanted a lower sugar by volume because we're already putting simple syrup into the cocktail. I did not want extra sugar in it. Oh, you went with Knutson's? That's right.
Well, yeah, because Knutson's, because how is she going to go back on the farm if once she sees Carl Hungus?
Right? We got lime, and I'm wondering if Mrs. Shake might want to go get me a knife because I forgot one. Your cherries. I got them right here for your garnish.
I just have Meyer maraschino cherries. Am I okay?
Hey, I don't think that's very Michigan of you, Taxman Tim.
It's from Meyer.
More Michigan than Meyer.
Thrifty Acres.
Of course, I said we're doing shaken martinis, not stirred. So I got a shaker for each martini. Because we're doing martini, I want a tight strain. So I got two different tight strainers. You want to make sure and really press them if you're making this cocktail. Get those ice chunks out. For both of them, I'm using my Dragon Glass martini glasses. I like them. I think they're really cool to look at personally.
I'm using the coupe. I got a
using a coupe. Okay. They have a little gap. That's very porn star of you to use the coupe.
Well, my wife hates coupes or hates martini glasses, so we're coupe family.
Yeah, you guys don't have this one though. So this keeps your hand off the drink, and so the drink stays colder.
Well, it's better too. Well, the problem with the martini is like when the waiters bring it to you, and it's basically like wiggling on the like sign of death and like spilling out.
Get your ice ready. And I'm doing my ice first sometimes when people will do a martini, they'll actually do a pre-shake and then add the ice. I don't like doing that. So say it with me, ladies and gentlemen.
Spank
that ice. 1 crack cube. There we go.
No, I'm starting to do this first.
1 whole cube. Let's do our simple syrup first. You want 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. Okay. 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. So I'm going to get my jig out. Give it a splash. Remember, the tendency for bartenders is to go from the cheapest ingredient to the most expensive. Both cocktails are featuring lime juice. So it's, for mine, Tim, it's 1/2 ounce of fresh lime juice. That's the same for yours, right?
No, I didn't. I don't have any lime juice.
You don't have lime juice? Okay.
No. But Dan's ingredients are sweeter than mine, which is why he needs the lime juice.
Well, it breaks down and helps catalyze the sugars that are present in everything that I'm putting in it. So give it a nice 1/2 ounce of lime juice. Then we got 1 ounce of cherry juice. And like I said, I'm using the concentrate on purpose. I wanted to limit the sugar because I'm already putting a lot of sugars in there. Nice Michigan cherry juice. Tim, did you know that people say you should drink cherry juice to help yourself go to sleep?
I assume it's more like prune juice is what I always thought, because it's
makes you poop.
Yeah.
1/2 ounce of cherry liqueur. Now, you might say I'm overdoing the cherry, but I have a theory with this when I started mixing them this week, okay? Cherry Bounce is not high in sugar like other things are. And so we're bringing down the ABV of the volume without cheapening the cherry flavor. At the same time, we are keeping with the red consistency that I want for the drink. I want this to look like a cherry that I picked off the tree. And if you see the color here, that's a pretty dark red. And so in trying to maintain that color, that was my goal.
So Mastershake, how close is a bounce to a Luxardo?
It's a half of like, so bounce is made, so a bounce is actually made from the fruit. It's a fruit liquor.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why it's not as high in sugar as, say, like something that had sugars added to it in order to catalyze the alcohol.
Yeah,
these are naturally fermenting sugars that take place inside the bounce. It's not a liqueur per se. It's more like a like a should I call it like a cherry what's the honey wine?
Mead,
like a cherry mead, but higher ABV. Like
there's another cherry liqueur is cherry herring, and that's very sweet. And you got to be very
herring is too sweet. Herring has sugars added to it. It's like a sherry almost.
Yep.
And then in terms of the infused vodka, we want 1.5 ounces, and I'm just using the short end of the jig for this. I'm not going to try to eyeball it because it's a martini, and I don't want it to be too deep on the amount of alcohol in it. I can smell the cherries just coming off the shaker right now. It's so powerful. Then we're going to give it a shake. Okay? Give it a tap. Clap it. Again, because it's a martini, extremely tight strain. Cue butthole jokes, right? Now, it fills it up to about 2/3, which is what my goal was. About 2/3. And if you're wondering where the frothing is coming from, I'm gonna turn on the third camera here real quick, Tim.
It's fine.
If you're wondering where the frothing is coming from, it's from the cherry juice. So if you see in there, Tim will get the same thing in his drink, I guarantee it. Okay? I guarantee it. There we go. Now, you're going to top it with your sparkling cherry wine. Now, there's a way to do this that it doesn't just end up floating on the top. If you get it near the edge, it will not just float, which is our goal here. We want it to be mixed inside of it, okay? So you're going to tilt it right to the edge. And I always do this thing with my fingers like this. I'll put my pinky on the table. I'll put my pointer up right next to the neck of the drink. And that helps you control with your upper finger where the liquor is going, whatever you're pouring. You just get your finger to the edge.
Something like this so that you can control the neck of the bottle.
Boom. We're going to skewer 2 cherries on my legs right here. And 1 through the middle. And you can fill in the blanks for what I just made. But it fits with the theme of the Miss Michigan.
The wiener joke.
And what you have left is a deep red Miss Michigan, my take on a Porn Star Martini cocktail. Oh, that's dangerously good. That's Miss Shake, come here. I won't make you be on camera, don't worry. You gotta try this. Oh, she's gonna try it later. Okay, I give it a 4.5. There's no presence of the lime juice whatsoever, which is a slight disappointment. I wanted to have that little bit of lime juice in there, so it was like a cherry lime kind of. It's not there. I probably should, if I want that present, I should have up to an ounce of lime juice. But other than that, it's exactly what I wanted. Cherry forward, not overly boozy. But the ABV on it, I figured it out using the website. It's like 45%, which is good for a martini. So check it out. Now, Tim, yours.
All righty. So we're going to switch this up a little bit. First thing we're going to do is we're starting with the Petoskey. I got Petoskey Stone Gin. He's got Mammoth Gin. This has to be a botanical gin, not a London dry gin. I don't want it to taste like pine needles. Not that I don't like pine needles, but most people, they get thrown off on gin because they don't like pine needles. But floral gin's a whole different animal. So I'm going to do an ounce of gin.
Okay.
Gotta put some ice in my shaker, baby.
1 ounce of gin. I'm making it right along with you.
All righty. Let me pull up my whole recipe here just so I have it right.
I had mine up too. When it's a complex martini like this, I feel like it's like a must.
a half ounce of Luxardo, which I know you have.
Yep, got it right here. 1/2 ounce of Luxardo. And if you guys don't know what Luxardo is, it's a maraschino flavored liqueur. Is it Italian, Tim?
I mean, I could read it. Yeah, it's Italian. It's very, very dry, but it tastes like cherries. Cherry juice. We're going with the Knutsons out of Minnesota.
Yep. How much?
I do an ounce, just like you.
Ounce? Okay.
And
if anybody ever wants to come on the show and do this like this, I will make the cocktail right along with you. If you like, just as a heads up to anybody, like I love having people on the show to do this. The last person who did it was you can see at the bottom mentions Monster Movie Happy Hour. Mary from Monster Movie Happy Hour was the last one to do this. We did the Bitter Apathy Challenge, and it was really cool. I love making it alongside her. Anyway, go ahead, Tim.
No, you're good. I have grenadine, but I have real grenadine, not fake grenadine from concentrate, which is important because this is more floral, and it actually is made out of pomegranates, not fake cherry juice.
I'm using pomegranates as well, but it's still a cheaper version than what Taxman's using. How much?
1/2 ounce.
1/2 ounce.
And this is actually where I stopped the recipe, and Mrs. Math.
This is Dr. Math.
Dr. Forbes said that we need 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. She said it wasn't sweet enough.
Okay. I got my simple syrup right there. I noticed you're using non-homemade simple syrup, Taxman.
I'm sorry. It's fine. It's sugar water. You want to make infusions?
That's why you just make it at home.
Whole different animal if you want to do infused sugar. If you just want regular simple syrup, this is like $3.
Yeah, we could have been really fancy and done cherry infused sugar. I looked that up.
All right. So we're going to shake that bad, Jackson. pop it in there. Oh, mine's gonna come out orange. I tried to do it glow in the dark, and I think I did it wrong.
Uh-oh. So I did the same recipe, and mine is deep red, dude.
No, I put B2 in it because I wanted to make it glow in the dark.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Well, that was going to be the surprise.
Oh, okay. And we got to top it off with the sparkling wine, right?
Yeah, we start with the sparkling wine. I'm going to skewer my cherry. Everyone can see the color on Dan's. We'll see if it glows in the dark on mine. We'll just do it that way.
You know, when I made those cocktails for the Neon Skyline that glowed in the dark, I felt like the B2 changed how it tasted.
We'll see.
Are you going to make a wiener with yours?
No, I don't have the three-sided like you do.
Oh, okay.
But I'm topping it with a Prosecco. This is a Coluda, I think it's called. It's $15, and it has really strong bubbles. So if you like a good heavy bubble in yours, like this is a really interesting Prosecco, and at $15 a bottle, it's an absolute steal.
I'm using Lamarco. Lamarca. I always say Lamarco. It's Lamarca. So I just got the little bottle.
So mine's going to come out a little bit different. I'll bring it up to the front here. Mine almost comes out like a weird little orange. But that's because of the...
I'm going to show the difference between the two using the third cam, Tim.
Oh, it still tastes fantastic, though. Change the flavor.
Oh, that's not the right one. There it is. All right. Here is the view of the two. So from your view, mine is this one. They're almost the same damn color.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's the cherry juice. So let me try yours. Yours is the gin-based one. This is Tim's. That's a different cocktail. It's a very different cocktail. In terms of what I think, hold on. I have to think here. So yours is drier and intentionally so. Man, hold on.
Well,
I don't know if I have enough taste buds left to do this.
You can mute me real quick. I'm going to make yours while you're deliberating.
Okay. I'll pull you out. So, rating the two. I give mine a 4.5. I give Tim a 4.5. And it's not about like tying or anything like that. I never if his was better, I'd say it. If mine was better, I'd say it. It's two different 4.5s. Mine is more like if you were going to a bar and you are somebody who likes a sweeter martini, mine would be a great version of a sweeter martini. The vodka isn't present, cherry forward, sweeter, light on the tongue, not the kind of cocktail you'd have with dinner. You don't want this cocktail with dinner, mine. You don't need it. You either drink it because you're having cocktail hour or you drink it because you just finished dinner. But this isn't like, I'm drinking this with dinner. Taxman's. Here's what I'll say. It's dry, and it's something that I think I would rather it's something I would rather drink while I'm eating dinner, and a fancy dinner too. Okay, so here's what's funny. They're both good, but for completely different reasons. As far as which one copied the Porn Star style better, oh, that's hard. So, in my opinion, the Porn Star Martini is an overwhelming, over-flavored martini, and mine is overwhelming, over-flavored. It is cherry, punch you in the face. Tim's is more complex. It's a more complex cocktail, and I don't know if it comes from the Luxardo, I don't know if it comes from the Prosecco or the gin forward or whatever it is. It's a more complex cocktail. It's something that I would serve fancier guests. Is that Porn Star? I don't know. I didn't like. When Tim comes back on, we'll talk about it. But I think that, and he'll taste mine. I think mine is more of a we're partying and getting hammered. His is like we're having deep conversation and people are kind of sitting around a table. So that would be the comparison I make. They're both good cocktails, just in completely separate ways. Tim's is fancier. I'm not going to lie. It's a fancier cocktail. It's something that I would serve at a high-end bar. Mine is something I would serve to a college freshman. So we'll bring Tim back on. All right, Tim.
Mixing right now, but the way that we...
Oh, are you muted?
Am I muted? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Oh, I might be still muted.
That's weird. I didn't mute you, though.
Let me unmute myself. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Good.
Oh, no. Hold on. I just can't hear you. Everybody else can hear you. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay.
So
that was my bad. Sorry, people. I had two screens going at the same time because I have to jump on the show immediately after this.
So what we equated it to is I felt like your drink is what someone would drink in Traverse City at a bachelorette party.
That's good. That's a good comp.
That's what we thought. And yes, I would say just based on the ingredients and the taste, this is much more floral. It is and like Dan said, it's a much more complex flavor. Not that I've tasted Dan's yet, but I've tasted cherry wine before.
Yeah, it's a complex martini. I enjoy the flavor. I still stand by it. I don't think I put simple syrup in it. Because it's more complex, I feel like the simple syrup takes away from the complexity.
I said the same thing.
If I made this cocktail, I wouldn't want any of that sweetness in there. Drier. I want it drier than it is. And it's great. Like I said, I'd give both cocktails a 4.5 for completely different reasons. If you drink two of the one that I made, you're going to be loopy and having fun. But one of Tim's is going to last you like a while you're sitting there having like conversation with people, I think.
I was a little concerned that this was going to go on the overly sweet cough syrup side. I do find it very sweet, but I do find it palatable. Like I don't think it hits cough syrup level, which I'm glad.
I don't think it does. The lime juice cuts it enough, probably.
I will say I am also using herring because that's what I have. So it might be a little sweeter.
It might be a little bit sweeter than mine, yeah. The balance with the natural sugars is going to be not as sweet. But that's what, like, I really would. I mean, that's a good comp. You know what? That's better. Rather than, like, making a joke about college freshmen. I think bachelorette party cocktail. Bachelorette party cocktail.
If you had a bunch of people who had a really, sweet palate, were younger, I think they'd be really into it. But I think I don't want to say that I made the adult version of your drink, but I'm going to call it the adult version.
Listen, remember, this is Michigan night. Is Michigan fancy?
No, not really. Now, I will say, we did another version of this with vanilla vodka.
Which is what is in the Porn Star Martini.
Porn Star. But all the same ingredients I had, but instead we put a little bit of chocolate bitters in it, and it came out like a chocolate-covered cherry.
So I was wary about using the vanilla vodka, and you know that I tend to use vanilla vodka in my cocktails that feature vodka.
Yeah, shout out to Craig, man, the Wonder Years.
Yep, the Wonder Years. I think that vanilla vodka, but with cherry juice, I didn't like it as much. And granted, I just did like a little bit of vanilla vodka with a splash of cherry juice and then tried it. And I was like, I didn't like. It's weird. It's not creamy, but that's the adjective I want to apply to it, right?
Yeah. Oh,
and
it was.
So I that's why I strayed away from it. Anyway, I think we made two good cocktails for completely different reasons.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was gonna hate yours. I will say, Dr. Forbes does not like your cocktail. I think it's pretty solid. I'm drinking.
That's pretty rare. She's usually a fan of pretty much the same things that I am.
You can come on. Dr. Forbes helped make my cocktail. We discussed the cocktail.
Dr. Forbes is not like.
I can admit now, the only thing I discussed this with was Chat GPT.
How dare you?
I put the ingredients that I was going to use into Chat GPT a couple different ways and talked with it. It's the first cocktail I've ever done that with. I'm not going to lie. It's a good sounding board. You can ask it a lot of different questions. Yeah. So for what it's worth, 2 good cocktails, both different versions of what you would call the Porn Star Martini. Either one would be definitely consumable, but you got to pay attention to the surroundings. I think that mine's more of a party drink, and yours is more of a, well, mine's more of a partay drink. Yours is more of a party drink.
You gotta hold the pinky out. Gotta have the pinky out.
Yeah, you gotta have the pinky out when you drink Tim's. It's probably the Prosecco. It dries it out.
I will say, like I said, this is a new Prosecco for us. We went to the Crushed Grape. Shout out. My favorite place to buy wine and beer and spirits.
I'll be there tomorrow.
In Grand Rapids. They do a tasting every week, and last week we just tasted 5 cheap bubblies. So we bought all 5 of them.
6.
Okay. In lieu of a death that took place today, in case you didn't know, Carl Weathers passed today. R.I.P. And
Alex
Pac-Man and I were like,
okay, Alex, first time that Dr. Forbes met Carl Weathers outside of Mando was Rocky IV.
No.
Or Predator, then Rocky IV. But she was devastated when he died in Rocky IV.
I really was.
Devastated.
I never
throw the damn towel.
2 or 3.
Someone finally didn't throw the towel. I know he was only 76.
We love those golden retrievers.
But he was so good in Mando too, and he's so good in Action Jackson. The man should have had more leading roles. Like my man Sturdy. He's the hardest working man in show business.
Love it. So we came up with the Ding Ding in honor of, Apollo Creed and Rocky III, which is low-key my favorite Rocky. Spoiler, Hannah. It's like a 50-year-old movie.
There's no spoiler. If you don't know that Apollo dies in Rocky IV, then you just aren't American.
That's on you. So
just throw the damn towel.
We gotta wrap it up because we're cutting into the Outcast now, and Mick's probably like chomping at the bit for us to wrap this up. So the Ding Ding, and I'm using a chilled shot glass just because I never get a chance to use them. But this is a red shot. It's like red, like Apollo's gloves. You need a gin. We're using the floral gin that we just made with our cocktails. Lemon juice and Campari. It's kind of a take on what's called a Campari sour. You want a third of each. Third Campari, third gin, third lemon juice. We're going to put our lemon juice in first. Tim, you measuring yours out?
I'm doing an ounce of each.
Oh, so you're doing like a, for you and Dr. Forbes. Got it. It's just me. So, third, your shot glass is lemon juice. Third is Campari. Oh, it just turned deep red. Cool.
Now, Campari's more bitter. Aperol is the sweeter version. They're basically the same liquor, just one's
an
bitter,
aperitif and one's a digestive.
Yep.
So
Both
this
very
is a
good.
take on a Campari sour. Normally it'd have egg white in it, whatever. Oh, you're shaking yours. You're being fancy.
I'm not as fancy as old Mastershake over there, but I also haven't worked a summer in a bar.
I've had many summers. 3 different summers. It's just I wasn't an actual bartender until the last one. Every other one was a beer tender.
This one's a cheers to our producer, Scene Stops, as well. He got me these shot glasses. Cheers to Jason. Cheers to Friday. Cheers to all of you.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding. Ring the bell, baby.
That's good as hell.
That's tasty.
That's really nice.
It's got a really nice bitter flavor to it.
Yep.
Give me bitter.
Okay. Thanks for coming on, Taxman Tim. Hopefully somebody can join me next week and we can do a dueling again. I'm going to clear you off and sign off with everybody. Okay. Another great day in the basement. I love being on this show. I love you guys tuning in. We did a lot today. I'm looking down. This is a lot more to clean up than normal. Mick's yelling at me right now because I am definitely cutting into the outcasts. But, you know, when you got two cocktails like this, it happens. This happens to be the second longest running Mastershake. The longest ever was our Bitter Apathy, which is about the same running time. Usually we do a tight 30 here at, you know, the Mastershake. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. And I hope to see you next week. Until then, same Mastershake time, same Mastershake channel, only here on the Scene Snobs. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen.